Assassin's Creed Shadows reveal trailer is already the most disliked in series history, claims Robert Ramsey, assistant editor of PushSquare.com, a PlayStation-focused gaming news site. Hello again, I am Blunty. Now, to be very clear about this right up front, Robert Ramsey is possibly, in my opinion, a complete moron, or possibly just ridiculously ignorant about how this whole YouTube dislike thing actually works, and didn't bother to check the data or how that data is acquired for publishing this absolute intellectual fraud of an article. Now you see, it's no secret that there's been a fair amount of very loud attempts to turn the Assassin's Creed Shadows reveal trailer into a new cow to milk for hate clicks and contrived rage bait and fuel for arguments. It's just the structure that gaming lives in these days, unfortunately. I don't know how to escape it. It's just what it is. So we got to do the best we can with what we've got. Morons more obsessed with pissing their pants in manufactured outrage than they are actually having fun just engaging with these entertainment products which are designed to be fun. And it's personally funny to me how they never ever seem to get tired of being just embarrassingly wrong all of the time. Remember just a couple of weeks ago, like with the most recent example of this crap, when they were all screeching so loudly about boycotting Ghost of Tsushima's PC release because it had a requirement to link a PlayStation account to it if you wanted to engage in the multiplayer stuff. It's outrageous! Yeah, it turns out that no one who actually plays these games really cared at all. It was, as I predicted, and as I demonstrated with evidence from the linked attempt at fake controversy around the Helldivers 2 debacle, a complete facade, fraud, fake, made up. Actual gamers don't care about it. These people are a very loud, but very small minority, because the demonstrable fact is, as can be seen in Steam's own API, which is a direct link to Steam's own real data about games, Ghost of Tsushima is actually the best-selling PlayStation port released so far, of all time. Absolutely nuking the peak concurrent player numbers already of all of the PlayStation console exclusive ports they have released to date, even the extremely high profile ones like God of War and Last of Us. The real gamers don't give a single, solitary, cold frack about these attempts to drum up drama and fake outrage online. It's all fraud, and this gets demonstrated over and over again every single time, and they never get it. They never get just how small they are, how meaningless their opinions are. It doesn't matter how loud they are, and how they imagine they're the majority screaming out. It's just not true. And that's what this Push Square article is all about. It's an attempt to drum up drama based on extremely unreliable data only being employed because it tells a story that allows these people to imagine up an utterly and completely fake reality they can use to trick morons into arguing and thus drumming up either precious clicks and interactions on their website and stuff, which they can then point to these numbers and show advertisers, hey, look how many people have clicked and interacted and commented on our articles and stuff. It's not about telling the truth. It's not about being a reporter. It's not about being a journalist. It's not about being news. It's about triggering interactions on their website, even in fraudulent ways, if it means they can sell some ads. Now let me explain to you what is going on here and why this data is so fraudulent. You see, while it is true that if you look at the dislike ratio of the published trailers across several official YouTube channels, they do show more dislikes than likes. But the truth of this data is, that data is extremely shaky and has deep biases built into it. It is not the real data that YouTube is getting. See, several years ago now, YouTube turned off the ability to actually publicly see the dislike to like ratio. This decision was rather controversial and was made largely in an attempt to stop people trying to weaponize the dislike ratio in the same way review bombs and the like are still weaponized today by bad actors and bots. YouTube got kind of sick of that crap, so they just turned it off. Not to protect regular users from it, but to protect their advertisers from it. It is not a decision I agreed with necessarily, but it is done. It was done years and years ago now, and it's not changing back, so there's little point in whining about it too much. But there is a browser extension available that was made very quickly after this decision was employed that, at its release at least, made visible again those dislike to like ratios, because the data that was collected before the change was made by YouTube was still accessible, kind of, even though it wasn't being shown anymore. However, anything, and I mean anything and everything published after that change was made all those years ago is different. Those dislikes are not accessible anymore. Not from the outside, anyway. So how in hell does this browser plugin claim to show the dislikes in the first place? Well, the only data that this browser plugin has in order to display a like to dislike ratio is the tracked data from its own users, and its own users only. It only knows about the dislikes that people who already use the plugin are leaving. And that is where the heavy data biases come in. Because what this plugin does to show a like to dislike ratio is take the number of dislikes its own users and only its own users have made, and then uses a linear calculation to directly apply that ratio to the total number of likes that are displayed officially. It's utter garbage data, because in no way are the people who use this plugin a representative sample. Psychologically speaking, they cannot be representative. Think about it. Who and what are the kinds of people who care so much about ratios of dislikes on a YouTube video more likely to be? Well, they're the people who want to weaponize it, aren't they? They're the people more likely to use dislikes as a weapon. Psychologically speaking, the people who bother to install a plugin like this and then pay attention to it and talk about the results of it are way more likely to be the kinds of people who abuse binary systems like this to oversimplify attitudes enough to turn them into arguments. And this is not just conjecture, it's not just anecdotal, this is stuff I have seen for myself with my own eyes, how false this data actually is. Because I do publish on YouTube, you might have noticed. And from time to time, on my own, more hot button videos, I will occasionally get one of these plugin users crowing in my comments about the ratio. You got ratioed in the dislike, lols. Except, as the uploader of that video, I have direct access to the real like to dislike ratio. I can see it very clearly in my own dashboard and reports. Because even though YouTube don't display the dislikes anymore, they still track them because it's still useful data for their algorithm and video publishers and whatnot. And guess what? When I get comments like this from these plugin users crowing about being ratioed, it has never ever, and I mean not even once, ever lined up even closely with what the plugin user leaving a comment about it was saying it was, according to the numbers the plugin was showing them. In one of the more extreme examples, I once had one of these people claim that I had an 80% dislike ratio on a video that, in fact, when I checked the data for myself, the real data for myself from my own dashboard, a 73% like ratio. It had far more likes and dislikes, but the plugin was showing the exact opposite quote-unquote data. That is a massive error margin, and I mean catastrophically massive error margin. These plugin users are demonstrably getting faulty, fake data. I've also had multiple occasions where people have left comments claiming they disagreed with something I said so powerfully that we're going to log into all 20 of their other accounts to dislike the video and that'll show me brah. And if that person was also a plugin user, and given their attitude they probably were because they care so much about dislikes, they could with this action alone powerfully skew the already shaky data from this plugin even further. And let's face it, once more, pissants so determined to game and weaponize the systems like this are far, far more likely to be users of the plugin, skewing the data even worse. Otherwise, how would they even see the results of their sad little efforts to log into multiple sock puppet accounts to mass dislike a video? Now, I actually have no doubt that the Assassin's Creed trailer is indeed being targeted by ratio warriors, brigading and botting and sock puppeting, but that doesn't mean it's real data. That doesn't mean it's the actual opinion of most gamers. That's just people gaming the system. And articles like this that cite hugely error-prone data from very biased sources are not telling you the truth. I promise you. Like I said, I've been able to see the proof for myself on my own videos when people using this plugin have claimed ratios that are absolutely wrong. Just not even close to the reality. And the author of this Push Square article is either a willful participant in this misinformation campaign, or so impossibly stupid, or just horrifically bad at their job that he used this data without questioning its source. Like he saw these screenshots probably on Reddit or somewhere and said, oh, well, that'll be a story. Look how heavily disliked these things are. And he didn't even bother to check where this data came from before writing this article. It is pathetic. Should be ashamed of himself, calling himself a writer or an editor or whatever his bloody job title is supposed to be. It is absolutely pathetic. And again, as very clearly demonstrated by the example I gave of Tsushima at the start of the video, all of the screeching and raging and whatnot is coming from a very loud but very, very small and entirely pathetically delusional group of twats who in exactly 0 ways represent the opinions of real gamers en masse. You want even more proof of this? Fine, I got more proof of this. Tom Henderson of Insider Gaming, someone who specializes in, well, insider news, leaks and whatnot from the gaming industry, and probably has decent sources and has a pretty good track record of leaks and insider information and stuff like that. He's a reasonably well-respected source of this kind of information. Well, he has been reporting that while there are no numbers yet to share, apparently the suits at Ubisoft are very happy with reportedly quite strong pre-order numbers of Assassin's Creed Shadows. And that's off the back of just a cinematic trailer, by the way. 0 gameplay, 0 previews, there's nothing else but a cinematic trailer. Just real fans of the series excited by a Japanese set Assassin's Creed game, something that has been a big fan request for many, many, many years now. If you've paid attention even remotely to the Assassin's Creed player base, they've all been crying out for a Japanese game. Every time there's a new Assassin's Creed game coming along, they go, oh, I hope this one's in Japan. I want a Japanese one. I want to be a ninja. So of course, the Assassin's Creed fandom is very excited by this game and have been pre-ordering based on nothing. So, you know, good luck with your boycott of one of the world's most popular game franchises because it's got a black guy in it, you racist little twerps. Maybe this time you'll catch a clue about just how small you are and how you, in exactly 0 ways, represent the attitudes of real gamers. It doesn't matter how loud you are, you do not matter. You do not represent us. Stop imagining you do. Stop talking like you are. You're not. You are tiny, and you are small, and you are meaningless, and you are irrelevant. You are just an embarrassment to us real gamers, and frankly, I'm tired of waiting for you to get a clue about this. You are wrong every time you scream about this stuff. Every single time. And you just keep going with it. It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing. How are you not ashamed to open your mouth in public? Now shut up. The grown-ups want to play games. Thank you for watching. I am Blunty, and we'll catch you next time. And thank you as always to the patrons who have been scrolling up above there. Catch you next time.